what we do is very different between company and company. We are very versatile position, and we basically make sure that all the systems goes well together. We might help different experts to do their job because they have a very limited vision within their system sometimes. So what we do is make sure that all the systems talk to each other and we achieve the goal of the mission. That might be either the full mission or the spacecraft, depends on what you're working on at that time. We, for that reason, work from the beginning to the end of a mission. We start with the bid phase sometimes. We help the financial part of it with our technical input, and then moving on to the design, and then building it, testing it, and sometimes delivering it and making sure that it goes in space. And then it begins the mission. So there's the building the satellite is not the whole job. There's also what comes after that. What we use, our tools to do our job are basically communication. There's a lot of management in what we do, a lot of documentation, and also requirements. Requirements is a very strong tool that we use to make sure that everything goes together. What I do every day is very different from period to period. Let me take it schematically. A mission starts with a bid, as I mentioned before. And in the bid, you typically do a small design in a few days just to have a rough idea of how the project would look like. So it's a lot of analysis and stuff like that. And a beginning of documentation to just outline the mission. And then the design phase, it's more knowing what you need for that project. You make sure you start the communication with the experts, and there is a lot of work in the requirements side at that point, because you want to make sure that you understand your system and you understand what you want to achieve. Lately, I've been working a lot on testing. So basically, once you design the satellite, once you purchase the components, your components come in-house, and you need to make sure that they work as expected. So my job as a system engineer, lead system engineer, is I have a test engineer that supports me. So it's basically the person who actually does the test. I overview his activities, making sure that the schedule is on time and we get what we need in terms of documentation. And then when the testing is done, there is the assembly and testing. So basically you put the components together, and the system engineer is also there to make sure that things are done correctly. And you can also give a hand as you have a broad understanding of the system. So even though you're not AV engineer, AV means the person who integrates, you know the system, so you can help. And sometimes you're lucky enough to maybe go abroad with the satellite and help also on the launch side. What I enjoy the most, I think it's the variety of tasks that we do, because I get bored very easily. So if I was to do the same job every day, it would be like a pain for me. But the nice thing of system engineering is that you see every part of the system. Of course, there are some boring things, for example, documentation. Nobody likes them. But you know that if you're doing something boring, the next month you're doing something different, something new. There is always something to learn from. Also because you have an eye on all the systems, software and hardware. So you will always learn something. I think what has been extremely valuable for me, and I'm happy for myself, was having had the guts to make the jump when I was at the university. And first of all, losing 1 year in order to do a thesis abroad. That helped me incredibly much, especially because in Italy, we don't have a lot of practical experience at the university. So having in my CV the lab experience that I had in Japan, I did master thesis in Japan. Having that experience really boosted my CV. And also on a personal level, being abroad, it's something that enriches you a lot. There's also a sad side of it, leaving the family behind. It's not easy, so I do not recommend for everybody to do that. But if you feel like that it's something that you can do, that's incredibly useful and it will boost your career. And that was before working. And during working, I think that what's very valuable is to take your chances to do something extra. For example, I've been 2 times to New Zealand for a launch campaign. That it means that I brought the satellite to a launch site. First time we were 2 people, second time I was alone. And you prepare the satellite for the launch, and then it goes up. So you have all the responsibility for carrying it there and making sure that it's ready to launch. Take risks, not stupid ones, but take risks. What I would tell to my younger self or any students is that the best thing you can do for yourself is invest in a conference or just find a scholarship for it. I think the conferences, it's really where you see what space is about. My main problem when I was looking for my first job was that I had no idea which companies were out there, what actually was working in space. And going to a space conference, you see all of this. You see who are the players, what are the projects, what different companies do. And it's so energizing as well. Other than seeing a lot what is out there, you also feel yourself with the energy of space, and it's just a great experience.